Do you want to do like a cold open, or are we just going?
I think we open here.
Okay.
Hello, all you lost and worried wanderers. Welcome to Old Man Music with myself, Paul Buchanan, and
Will Rag.
today we're going to be discussing one battle after another. Um, Probably the best film to come out like ever, in my opinion.
Ever.
No, not ever, but best film in a long time that I've seen in the cinema that's been impressed me on like a wider level. You know, I feel like I've been to see so much stuff in the cinema that I don't know. Either I'm like that was good, and then it comes out on streaming and I watch it and I'm like, oh, just no, like doesn't hold up. You know, and like I'm scrolling on my phone half the time, um, just not catching my attention. Or like you show someone after it's on streaming and it's you know what I mean, it's just met with
Mm,
crickets.
yeah.
Um,
This century's Godfather is a phrase you've used frequently.
I mean, you won't know until it's gone, but like it could be. I think it is actually. I think it could actually be one of the greater films of our. I don't know. I don't know what the future's going to look like or how people will view film in the future. But going back, it feels like a mark, like a point in history where we can say this is where film got to at this era, and this was the pinnacle. Even though surprisingly, it's not actually performed very well in cinemas. I don't know if you've seen any of the articles about it, but
I haven't looked at the box office.
I can't remember. I saw like some title grab Instagram post that said that one battle after another had lost like six, had lost money basically. The amount that it took to make, they haven't made it back in the
Yeah.
box office. Um, and there's something to be said by like the probably amount of money that they're going to get from getting it on streaming and further. But like it is probably a film that took a lot of money to make.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, streaming. I mean, this is the thing that, like, yeah, streaming might make some money back, but it's not as much as it would have like before. Like, I was watching an interview with Matt Damon where he talked about how a lot of the money people would make from films, actually, like, if a film didn't perform very well in the cinema, actually they get a bunch of money back from DVD sales and stuff like that. But because no one's buying DVDs anymore and everyone's just watching stuff for free online, there actually isn't as much money to be made from that anymore. Um, but at the same time, like, studios lose money on films all the time. Like, the thing about the amount of films that studios put out in a year, 60% of those lose money. Then all they want is like the one film to. I don't think it. It doesn't matter to me. I don't know. It just doesn't. I like it. Like, things about
Yeah,
stuff like Avatar that like smashes all these records is fun and everything, but like at the end of the day, it just doesn't matter to me. I don't think at all. It
we're
doesn't.
talking about
Uh,
art here.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if you think that cinema is an actual art form, which I do, then you know how much money it makes is. Same with painting. How much money a painting sold for doesn't increase its value as a piece of art, does it? It's just.
Yeah, but there's the amount of money that goes into a painting versus the amount of money that goes into like a film and the amount of people that work on it and the amount of mouths to feed, the amount of people that I mean, I'm sure they get paid a flat rate, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
just I just think there needs to be some sort of compensation for a lot of I don't know the work that goes into these things, but I guess no one's
Yeah,
doing
but
it for
that's the thing.
that.
Everybody's well, unless you're taking a big risk in that you're one of these big actors that's like, okay, fine, I will come on and I will take a percentage of the revenue. Then, but you're just getting paid a
I mean,
flat.
Leonardo could have done that. I don't know what the contract was,
I
but
don't know,
he's a big name.
but yeah, pretty much everybody that's signed onto a film gets paid a flat fee, and then that's it. No matter how much money the film makes afterwards. I don't know. I think that's generally how it's done, but
Anyway, back to the film at hand. One battle after another. I did think I did. The words did leave my mouth saying that I thought it was this generation's Godfather.
yeah, a few
Maybe I
times.
will go back on that. Did I
Um,
say that a few times?
yeah, you did. I So, all right, if you think of it that highly, we're thinking of this century. Do I think it's the best film released this century? I don't think it's the best film released this year. I like it a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I
This is
think
actually something me and my brother were talking about your review today on Letterboxd. We were like, because I was talking about that person from work who gave it like 3 stars, and then my brother was like, "I got a bone to pick with Will is that he only gave it 4 stars." And
ah
when
yeah. See, if I yeah, that rush that you get after leaving the cinema after watching a really good film, I didn't get that from this film. I loved it and I loved every piece of it. I really, really loved the first bit a lot with the French 75 and everything. And then after that, it was good and I enjoyed parts of it, especially the bits with Benicio del Toro. Um, but I don't know, there was just something in terms of a PTA film. I don't think it's his best. I think it's incredibly well conceived, and I think it's very. Um, I said this after the first viewing that it feels like everything in his filmography has led up to this, and that
it
almost
is
feels
an
like he was.
amalgamation of all of these different
Yeah.
films. It's like I feel like as well, like there is a heavy Inherent Vice vibe. It feels like Inherent Vice, but maybe done a lot better. Like it's kind of got that the plot, but maybe I don't know. It's got the plot that kind of spirals a bit out of control, and it goes on
Mm,
tangents, and it's got the intro bit that kind of just cuts off and never
mm,
goes. You never go back to the intro. It's like a time skip 15 years later, and everything's different. And it's funny actually because I heard from one of a mutual friend of mine told me that another friend had went to see it and that they they didn't like the film because they came out and they were like, I just don't get why they killed the main character off in like after the first bit. Like you spend this time with this character and then you never see her again. Like shit. And I think there is something to be said for the normie mindset of seeing a film
yeah.
where you get attached to you get attached to the way it's going to go in the narrative and like the person being like I don't know, like not being able to let go of the plot a little bit and just go along for the
Yeah.
ride. I think it's something that you get more if you're into kind of film and a bit a film buff kind of guy.
Yeah. I showed a friend Inherent Vice, and I said, do like smoke a joint beforehand and do not try and pay attention to the plot. Just like go with it. And he said I think he actually tried to watch it once and then was like, what's going on? And then actually tried it a second time and then was like, okay, let's just kind of go with it. And then he was like, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot more the second time when I wasn't actually too fussed about the I think the machinations of the plot I think are very interesting in both films, and they do, but they do lend themselves also just to be like, oh no, this is just like really good fun, and this is there is obviously a lot more going on underneath, but actually just on a surface level, I really like it when a film looks like it was a lot of fun to shoot. Do you know what I mean? Where it looks like
Yeah,
everybody, there's a chemistry to the people on screen that you just can't fake. And I really like that in a film, and I think, yeah, I always get that
I
with
think both the
weird
films
films.
have that Inherent Vice and or just
I think Inherent Vice more so,
yeah.
um, but
Definitely with Owen Wilson, and I like
yeah,
the bromance between Owen Wilson and Joaquin's quite sweet.
yeah,
Especially for I don't know, Joaquin's the sort of guy who's always typecasted in these like lonely like incel characters a lot of the time, whereas he doesn't actually have friends. So it's nice to see him in that kind of
um, yeah. No, it's good fun. Um, but
yeah.
yeah,
I think that like there is a lot of similarities between Inherent Vice and this film, probably maybe as well because it's based off a Pynchon novel. It's
yeah,
based off Vineland, and whereas Inherent Vice is based off Inherent Vice.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know. I left the theater thinking, wow, that was such a fun ride. There was so many like I don't know. When like movies have these like gags throughout them, like you've obviously got the couple small beers, and you got like the bit
Mm,
where he's like, I can't remember the password and stuff, and they can kind of be a bit like sometimes in a Marvel movie you'll walk out and you'll be like, haha, that bit where like the Incredible Hulk threw Thanos into a fucking radiator or something, I don't know. And it's kind of like that stuff that latches on your brain. But I feel like it was done, that it was like using that kind of, you know, that device, but like quite charmingly, I felt. It's quite like well written for the time
Mm.
that it came out. Which is, this is another thing why I say it's the Godfather of time, is that I feel like it encapsulates a very certain time period of, you know, where we're at right now, and it manages to do that without kind of seeming cringe. Like a lot of the modern films that have like, you know, references to technology and the difference between like, you know, boomers and all that shit. You know, I
Mm.
feel like it kind of bridged the gap very nicely compared to a lot of films I've seen that I think will age a lot worse compared to this.
Yeah, I think one thing that does go in its favor for how well it's going to age is that actually like pinpointing when exactly, once takes that time jump, you probably could, if you figured it out, you could figure out actually what time period the present day bits are actually set in. But it's like actually it doesn't matter because it could be set at any time because it doesn't rely on like certain pieces of technology. Like obviously, I'm blanking on the main character's name now. Bob Ferguson. He is obviously
That's
like
not actually his real name.
well, yeah, but he is obviously very retro. Doesn't want any like he doesn't just want a daughter to have a phone or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever.
he's got the brick phone, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and so you can't really like date that. But then there's also is like at the school dance they're dancing to like what song is it? It's like
Oh, it's like sicko mode.
so something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's like da. I can't remember what
But
it's
so there are like
da
vague
da
references to the
da
time period,
da.
but there's not anything like
Go
overt.
ball. No, it's like trap. Yeah. No, I
um,
agree. It's that there's a bit jarring actually when that's on, because it's
but
that
it's
song
funny.
even feels dated in this
Yeah,
day and age, because you're like, well, that's 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even more.
yeah, it's definitely played for a gag, um, which is it is funny. And yeah, the film was very funny as well. But yeah, there's just like if you look back on this in 5 years, there's nothing in the film that you'll go like, oh, they're using that piece of technology. It was clearly that's just clearly from 2020 or something. They were clearly,
Maybe
whatever.
weed vapes.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the vape. I saw someone on Twitter say this is the first instance of actually good vape acting, and
Yeah, I'd be
I,
inclined to agree.
I don't know. I watched what was it, the worst person in the world the other day. I think they vape it. Or were they just smoking in that? I can't remember. But I think there was some good. Oh, I can't remember now. It was
Before
pretty
we
good.
go on to talk more about this film, I need to know what you think the best film of this year is.
Weapons.
And is it Tron Air? Oh man, this could be another episode.
Is this
Weapons, man. This could be a really really hot episode, because I fucking hated Weapons.
really hated it?
I thought it was steaming garbage. I thought maybe because it was so overrated, I was so excited to see it. I think I watched Barbarian like 2 weeks, like for the first time. I watched it 2 weeks before
Yeah,
Weapons came
Barbarians is
out,
a good film.
and I thought Barbarian was amazing. I watched it just in my room, fully encapsulated. Like, yeah, I was like, this is, this director's fantastic. Thinking that going to see Weapons would be a step up, and I just did not think it was all that. But we can talk about that another time.
I thought it was great.
Um,
I love a film that like wears what it's talking about very openly and very on its sleeve. Like, having the big, like, what is it? It's not an AK-47, is it? It's like it's just a big weapon, like, over the house, in that vision. I don't know. Well, we'll get into another film now, but I love shit like that. I think it's so cool. And, like, some people will look at that and go, oh, it's beating you over the head with, like, the whole weapons and school shooting allegory or whatever. But I think it's great. Um, but no, in terms of this century, though, do you genuinely think that this film's better than Parasite?
no,
No.
but I wouldn't say Parasite is the Godfather of our generation.
Okay.
I would say that like Parasite is like more like I don't know. I mean, it's difficult because it's obviously a Korean film, so it's like it's got. I don't think in the past films have kind of brought from different cultures have been brought over like that. Maybe I don't know, maybe like French films and New Wave and all that. I feel like that's kind of what's happening with a lot of Korean stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I think in terms of like politically where we're at currently, I just feel like Parasite gets like the craziness a bit more. I mean, that came out before COVID as well.
Mm.
I think it just gets like how insane everyone is becoming. Do you know what I mean?
In a way, but I felt like this film was a bit more relatable. I feel like the parasite thing was kind of a very classic archetype of like capitalism and the working class versus the upper class, and it did incorporate these like the whole arc where they kind of grind out that like career that I don't know whatever website they're using. It's kind of like a Uber vibe, isn't it? That they're like doing jobs on this website, and then they
Oh yeah.
kind of lie about they've like forged their whole life. I tell you what's impressive about Parasite is it came out before AI, and it feels like they were kind of preluding to the fact that you could like use technology and like AI and stuff to like because nowadays I don't think anyone does like any job hunt or anything. It's such a ball ache. AI a lot of like CV and cover letters and stuff and use it as a tool to kind of help shape that. And I think that that's kind of like the vibe of that Parasite intro.
Mm.
But back to the one battle after another, I felt like one battle after another really captures a very specific kind of turning point of, and it really, I think it kind of accentuates that whole right and left divide which we are experiencing at the moment due to social media or just even like the locationally, you can point to areas which are like left and point to areas that are right, and it feels like it's more divided than ever. Um, and it feels like it captures that very well with the main antagonist obviously being very right wing, being and the interactions between him and then the I can't remember what the daughter's called,
Wilma.
Willow.
Wilma. Isn't it Wilma?
I thought it was Willow.
Willa. Willa. Yeah, Willa.
Willow, yeah. Like there's that kind of very funny interaction where he's like she's like, oh, nice shirt, and he's like, it's not because I'm gay or anything, and it's like kind of accentuate like putting a spotlight under his own insecurities and
Yeah.
the fact that he's so uncomfortable in his own skin that he's kind of got to make up for it with tight t-shirts or whatever, but then when he sees that it could be perceived wrongly, it's he's very you see that bit of the movie you kind of see how insecure that Sean Penn's character is, Colonel Lockjaw.
Mm.
um, and I felt like that was kind of like a whole thing between the whole film. You've got like the age difference between like a lot of the characters, and then you've also got like the political differences between the characters, um, and those kind of became main playing points and for a lot of the dialogues, and that like going back to what I said with those like sort of dialogues that were very catchy and stuck in your mind and kind of like very funny and charming. I feel like that owes a lot to those dynamics.
For me, I came out of one battle after another, thinking, you know, everybody kind of was saying that, like, oh, this could spark a revolution, or this film could be, I mean, I think that's a fucking stupid idea. I don't think a blockbuster, is going to do that. That's not. Um, but what I think it could do and should do is uh, make being left wing cool again.
It's. I feel like I don't know if being left wing isn't cool. It just depends on which circles you're in. But I guess maybe if to interpret your point is that if you are in maybe a middle aged man and you're like I don't know maybe more starting to lean to the right or you don't really identify with the kids today, doesn't mean you have to be some right wing dickhead. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like I mean, there's the whole thing between Leo and the kids outside the door, and he's like, oh, there's the joke about the they them, and he's like, I just want to make sure I get it right, and it's like, it's actually he's trying to kind of level with them, even though he's like under his breath, like being like fucking freaks and stuff, and it's funny, but it's like you're allowed to accept that you don't understand and that you think it's weird, and even like make jokes about it without even like opposing the kind of movement that a lot of this stands for, and the rights of people within that movement. And him being like a ex-revolutionary kind of paints the picture of him being, he is left wing, and he is sort of, even though he's kind of washed up and he's old and he doesn't give a shit because he's just doing loads of drugs as the film paints him. It's like it's a good kind of archetype or role model to look up to for maybe these middle-aged people that are struggling with understanding the new generation and stuff.
I think there was a big difference in what being left wing meant in the 70s as to what it means now. Um, and there was real, like, genuine action being taken in the 70s. And, a lot of the reason that's not happening nowadays is, well, because, a suppression of left wing groups. And, you see it in the film, like, is snitches, like people being flipped by things like the FBI or the CIA, into getting lighter sentences and things like that. Um,
Well, that's
and
yeah, Willow's mother who ends up flipping, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, that was a big reason. I mean, the Black Panthers succumbed to, infighting and calling each other snitches and things like that, and and that gets the French 75, doesn't it? It's what causes them to go into hiding, and no, into indefinite hiding, and I think
Mm.
what PTA has maybe tried to put into the film is like his hope that like there are these like bands of people that will be willing to um, come out of the woodwork, and that there are people like um, Sensei Sergio that are in the wings and helping, like, what does he call it? He calls it a Mexican Harriet Tubman. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's hiding
like
immigrants
a
and things
freedom
like this.
fighter. Yeah,
Yeah, and
ally of
it
yeah,
feel it. I don't think it's revolutionary, but I think it's an incredibly hopeful film. That like that what we're facing at the moment is shit and it's really bad, but another world is possible. I think that is at the very heart of all left wing politics. Is that another world is possible and we can get there, and to
yeah.
not give up, and to not you know become Bob Ferguson smoking a joint, uh, watching Battle of Algiers, and that we can still do something about it. That
But
to me is
is it not like it's okay? He did a lot, and then he's brought up a he's obviously brought up a child by
yeah.
himself, and then she is the future, and maybe it's like that maybe that's another sort of message of the film is that you don't have to just because you're out of the game and you yourself are unable to doesn't mean you can't inspire future generations to do the right thing. It's like maybe saying that maybe right now we can't change it, but if we start putting attitudes and mindsets in place and stuff, that in like our kids will have a better kind of life,
Mm. Yeah, I mean
a better
certainly, yeah,
world.
yes. I would say certainly it's about kind of passing the baton.
Saying that, it's definitely one of the most positive film endings I've seen from PTA. It's like I can't I haven't seen every PTA film. I think I've seen Magnolia and I haven't seen Phantom Threads, which are like the big two. I don't think I've seen, but like no other of his films have ended that kind of like I'd almost like Hollywood. Like it was very like I can't remember what song plays at the end, but it's almost like
Yeah,
um, that the kind of Daryl Hall and John Oates vibes of like when I got dun dun, and it's all very happy, and he's she's going out the door, and he's trying to figure out how to take a selfie, and it's very feel good ending, which is like unusual for Paul
yeah,
Thomas Anderson, I think, very out of character.
yeah. No, it's good fun, the ending, and yeah, I mean, yeah. To your point about PTA ending, Boogie Nights comes to mind, and I think that's quite a hopeful ending. The family comes back together, and everybody kind of finds each other, and everybody. Yeah, that one
Is it?
I always like. Yeah, they're all in the big house together, and
Yeah, there's not. You know,
he gets his dong out.
they're in a pretty horrible industry, and they're just kind of just like, oh, they're just going to carry on, you know,
Yeah, I think well, they're in a
pumping
horrible
out
industry,
porn.
but they're like the film doesn't certainly doesn't try to belittle the porn industry, just the um it brings the worst out of some people sometimes because of the money. But I think it's a hopeful message in that they found, you know, Dirk Diggler. I can't forget it. I can't remember his actual name, but you know, he gets kicked out of his house, by his parents, and then but he does find a family with Burt Reynolds and what's her name, the redheaded woman. Trying to think about other ones. I can't remember how Magnolia ends. Just haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, and maybe don't tell me because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, uh, There Will Be Blood. I think is definitely a very pretty violent.
But there is a stage of like there is like a bit of theater in it, and it is very like there is a kind of like sad, like dark humor in it, isn't there? I'm finished,
Yeah,
and then it's like the whole kind of yeah,
yeah,
that was a very, but yeah, I feel like the master wasn't exactly a happy ending. It's kind of like he's repeating his own mistakes, or he's just like doomed to kind of be the same person, despite going
mm,
through all this like crap with the cult. It's not changed him for better or worse really, and it's kind of like I guess it's kind of a comment on how these cults prey on vulnerable people, and don't
yeah,
improve their lives at all really, and don't really add anything. I think it is very very like harsh on cults or
yeah. Um,
Scientology or whatever the fuck they want to.
the other big one I'd say is Punch Drunk Love, and I think in terms of what other PTA films One Battle is similar to, I think it's obviously Inherent Vice, but also Punch Drunk Love. I think more than any other has more similarities to it because I think it's PTA being a romantic.
If you skip the intro of One Battle After Another, if you skip the prelogue, and you just go straight into it's like him chilling, smoking weed, washed up, and then suddenly his daughter gets taken from him, and he's got to go on this mission and go back to find her, and he has to kind of go overcome some obstacles, and it's kind of like the same thing with Adam
Yeah,
Sandler when his girl gets stolen, and then he's got to go and get her back.
I would say more so because yeah, it's PTA being a romantic. Do you know what I mean? Like I watched an interview with him where he's talking about what is each of his films about. Like if you had to distill it into one theme, and he just someone they said Punch Drunk Love, and he just says love, like love, how love can defy all odds and everything, and all of this. And I think that at the heart of One Battle is I mean you've got all of these left wing politics, whatever. But actually, at the heart of it, it's just a father who loves his daughter and just wants to see his daughter again, and wants to make sure his daughter is okay. Um, and despite all of this, is he his daughter? Is she his daughter? Is she actually Lockjaw's daughter? Doesn't matter. He has raised him, and he has raised her, and he loves her, and he will go through absolutely anything. Will jump out of a moving car, just to go and will shoot at an armed militia, um, just to make sure she's okay.
Yeah. So obviously, the film was based off of a Thomas Pynchon novel.
Mm.
Would you have you? So you've read Inherent Vice recently, but you've not read Vineland yet.
Yeah, no, I literally went out and bought Vineland. I got halfway through Inherent Vice and was like, oh, I've got to go get Vineland. This is really good.
What do you think of the like how his style of writing compares to maybe its portrayal on screen by
Um,
PTA.
in terms of Inherent Vice, I'd say that there's understandably there was a lot of stuff cut from Inherent Vice. I think if you read Inherent Vice, it's a bit more uh, dense in terms of the characters and the mystery. There's more to it, but I'd say that it was very understandably cut from the film. Um, and but I think what PTA gets right about it, um, yeah, no, I don't want to lean on just vague terms like the feel, but there is something about like Pynchon's prose is just it's very laid back and it's very I mean obviously like the main character is this huge pot smoking PI, but there is to it just this very like I think it's very understandable if somebody really hated Pynchon and his writing because his writing you need to be like on the same wavelength as it because he does rely on like these like very strange similes and things like that and that relate back to the the 60s grooviness that was kind of going out the window and because the Manson stuff that's a big thing that was different actually so I'll just touch on quickly but uh, the there's a lot in the film. Is there many mentions of Manson, of Charles Manson? There's not, is there?
In which film? One Bite After Another or
Inherent
Inherent
Vice.
Vice? Mm, yes, there is a mention of it in when they get pulled over by the cops. They get pulled over because of they're like that there's a new law that was in place about any like more than like 3 or 4 people in a vehicle, you have like a warrant to search their car or something, and it was like,
Mm,
and then I remember like Joaquin Phoenix's characters like mutters under his breath like about getting fucked by Manson again or something. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Right. Because I tried to remember the film and I couldn't remember any mentions of it. But yeah, the book is heavy on Manson references. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, no, because it is about like the '60s dying, and that obviously literally happened in '69 when the '60s were actually dying. But it was going to be replaced by the '70s, and um, but yeah, just I think Pynchon's prose is just incredible. He, you know, a lot of I've been reading a
I've
lot of
heard it's
brain.
very long-winded, like very he'll write very long form sentences, like almost James Joyce sort of Sam Beckett kind of vibes.
Mm, yeah, yeah, he does do that. I mean, obviously, I've only read Inherent, but actually, that's a lie. I started reading Gravity's Rainbow, and I couldn't do it. But I'm gonna go read Vineland and maybe give it another go, um, because yeah, he does exactly that. Like, um, Gravity's Rainbow is very they he got denied the Nobel Prize for Literature because a bunch of the judges or whatever were saying that it was like turgid and overwrought, and it is absolutely is turgid and overwrought, but it because he I don't want to say overwrite stuff, but like he really like goes ham on like um metaphors and similes and but yeah, I think if you can get on the same wavelength as it, it's a really wonderful read. Like just I've been reading Raymond
Mm.
Chandler as well, and the prose in it, the way that it's written, it doesn't matter that you don't understand what's going on because you're just it's just a beautiful way of uh imagine being able to imagine things. Like that's what a book's
As
about.
someone
Do you know
who's
what I mean?
never read Thomas Pynchon, but only going off of what I can experience through the films of PTA, I kind of imagine that he's one of those writers that just captures the kind of cultural consciousness of a generation. It's like
Mm,
he kind of manages to put into words the feeling and the vibes and the in the same way that Bob Dylan would be able to do in his songs, or the same way that beat poets did in their books and poems. It's kind of, it feels like a maybe yeah, maybe I'm wrong because I've never read any, but that's the impression I get.
Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly say that. I mean, the only thing I would say is obviously you bring up Dylan and the Beats. It's they were written at the time of, but Inherent Vice came out in 2009. Um, so he does have a big kind of hindsight um in that, and that he's able to cast a long look back, and but yeah, it's also funny. Like, I haven't had it very much where I like genuinely laugh at something on a page, but it's like he's got like characters that are like, he has one like gangster that's obsessed with Ethel Merman. You know what I mean? It's just like weird, yeah, like show tunes and stuff. It's just it's really funny stuff. Um, and yeah, I mean I think the film does do a good job with the humor, but I don't know, maybe not as good as it could have. Um, but yeah, no, I
Yeah,
definitely
I mean, I
agree.
feel like we're talking about Inherent Vice and this film are kind of different, like boxes of frog, because I feel like maybe Inherent Vice is very, uh, I don't know, but what's not self-serving, but it feels like a little bit like masturbatory, and it's kind of refuse to like let the audience in to a sort of like normal experience. Whereas it feels like One Battle Another, it's kind of like he's like, okay, Inherent Vice maybe. I'm not going to say didn't work because I love Inherent Vice. I think it's one of my favorite films of all time. But it's like he's like, okay, I'm going to play ball a bit and make this a bit more accessible. Maybe because of what we were saying earlier, how it's got a positive message and a message he really believes in, and he wants to illustrate that point. So maybe he goes a bit off of the source material. I mean, I've heard Vineland is only a sort of partial inspiration for the whole film. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of it was kind of rewritten or added upon. So, um, but yeah, I guess I wanted to go back into the politics of the film and discuss the Christmas Adventurers Club as well as the opposing force maybe to the French 75.
Um,
And
yeah. So
what real life like people they might have been based on, because you said you kind of read into it a little bit, whereas I'm a bit unsure.
um, so right, hold on. Let me make sure I've got this right. So
Yeah.
right, I think that the Christmas Adventurers Club is based on a thing called the Safari Club. Right. This is a real
Okay.
thing. So this is off of Google here. Right. The Safari Club was a covert alliance of intelligence services formed in 1976 that ran clandestine operations around Africa. Um, right. So basically, at a time when the United States had limited the power of the CIA, the years of abuses, and when Portugal was dismantling its colonial empire. Right. Basically, I was just listening to a podcast called Blowback, and they were talking about
Shout out to
um,
Blowback.
yeah, and they were talking about the current season is on Angola, and they talk about the Safari Club a lot, and about there was how many members were there? Right, these are Egypt, France, Iran, Morocco, Saudi Arabia, and the US. But I think Israel was in there as well.
Okay.
And yeah, basically they would run covert operations in Africa to undermine Soviet influence. Um, but yeah, so that was based on a real thing. Um, but yeah, what
It
I
kind of
think,
reminds me. Do you ever watch South Park?
yeah,
Like Chef gets involved with that. I can't remember what they're called, the Explorers Club. It feels like maybe that they were coming from the same inspiration, where like they're I don't know, maybe it was just I don't know. I won't get too into it because it's South Park. It's very crass, but it's just No, it's like they're adventurers and they just go to like third world countries and fuck kids is the joke. And I was like, I guess that would make sense at the Christmas Adventurers Club giving, I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it probably is based in the jungle. I'm trying to figure out when it was made um like obvious, like when it was revealed that that's what they were doing. Because surely they weren't. Maybe it's still underway. I don't know.
Dude, if I was a CIA, I'd be never revealing that shit, right? I don't know
Well,
how they let
because
that one get
sometimes they
out.
don't. Oh, 1983 it stopped its operations. Um, but I mean, sometimes they don't have like with Watergate, for example. Like somebody just like broke in to the Watergate hotel, and they got caught, and then suddenly they're like, "Well, what are you doing here? You like clearly have ties to the CIA. Like, what are you?" And so people like just start digging, and then like they get subpoenaed or something, and but like not all of that stuff with Watergate like gets revealed because like the CIA operates like um obviously there was a time in the 70s where they were kind of being pulled back a little bit, but like they basically for a while they operated without any oversight from Congress or anything. Like they just did what they wanted to do. They asked for forgiveness, not permission. Do you know what I mean? Um,
Mm,
but then they kind of realized. I think after Vietnam, they realized that's what they were doing, and so they curtailed their influence and did stuff like the Safari Club.
damn.
But don't take that as gospel because I only know bits and bobs.
Yeah, I mean, maybe further reading of Vineland would also maybe it is from a book, but or from the book, but um, yeah, I would like to just commend the acting performances in this film because
Mm.
I feel like everyone was on top form, and maybe it goes back to you saying like how everyone's having a good time on set, but I thought that Leonardo DiCaprio. I've just looked down at my notes under acting performances, and I've bullet pointed some like actors I wanted to talk about, and I scribbled it out like really quickly before we started this podcast, and I've done the classic. I've written Leonardo da Vinci. I was about to say that out loud and was like, "Oh, hang on a second."
We can talk about Da Vinci.
So Leonardo DiCaprio, I feel like giving one of his most understated performances. I think it's not like there's something very comfortable in it where it doesn't feel like he's even trying that hard.
I don't know. I think the bits where he realizes that somebody's after him, and he's going around in the glasses, and he's trying to get his phone charged and stuff. I think those bits are like not understated whatsoever, and that but it's like a
Mm.
controlled like rage because he's like raging at this guy for not telling him uh, the codes or whatever. But then he's also like, okay, but I still need to like talk to you because I need to know this rendezvous and stuff. Um,
He's crashing out.
there are parts of it where it's like, yeah, he is like losing control and he is like having a mental breakdown because he's wrecked his brain over these so many years, and he's like trying to remember all this stuff. Um, but then he's also like losing his mind because his daughter, he doesn't know where his daughter is. Um, and I think it does take a special actor to be able to do all of that whilst also being incredibly fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? Like he never once in it are you like I not like I want to be this guy. Like this is like the chillest guy. Do you know what I mean? He seems like a good hang the entire time.
Yeah, it's a really good performance of paranoia and I don't know. I feel like there's a stereotype about the sort of like I don't know, maybe someone wearing tin foil over their head and being all like, because that's kind of his character, is like a bit of that archetype of like, he's, doesn't want to own a phone, and he's like terrified of being spied on by the government, all for very good reasons. He's in kind of not witness protection, but he's in hiding, from and him like in the dressing gown with the glasses on, being all kind of like, it's very like he almost schizoid, but in like, yeah, like you say, like it's not in this really delusional way, which maybe is why it's kind of more down to earth and relatable and kind of cool. But yeah, I think that sequence of the film has definitely been the most iconic bit. And Halloween coming up for us right now, I feel like it's going to be a good Halloween costume. It's probably going to be. I won't say it'll be the Joker, because I feel like that was far more
Yeah.
mainstream, but still, I feel like it's going to be up there for the best Halloween costumes of this year.
Yeah, I think I want to do the Joker this year actually.
You know what? I think 2025 is the time to just get
2025
the
is
clown
the
makeup
year of the
out.
Joker.
Oh God, there's so many whack ass. Yeah, I feel like it's had so many kind of uh, errors as well, because I feel like people were doing it after The Dark Knight came out as well.
Oh
That kind
yeah,
of Heath Ledger,
there's been 20 years of that,
saggy.
man. 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is insane.
wow.
Um, I was,
Sean Penn.
yeah. Do you want to talk about Sean Penn? Um, I think for me, Slight steals the show. I think he's better than DiCaprio in it, which is crazy because I think this is possibly DiCaprio's best performance. But Sean Penn in it is so good. He gets the character like perfectly. But I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it is tough to like compare the two because like Lockjaw is obviously kind of a bit of a caricature, and he is played for laughs a little bit. But then also, I think Sean Penn knows how to play the pathos of that character as well, and like, there is a sadness in him. Um, you know, you do question whether his racism is real, and it probably is real.
mm.
I don't. But he also does spend the first half of the film saying, "I love black women." Do you know what I mean? It is a very strange character, and that you're not actually ever
Yeah,
entirely sure.
he's very confused, and I think you kind of feel that confusion. It's like, is he just doing this because he wants to feel like, is his kind of overview all views because of his military kind of standing, and maybe the people he's around, and maybe deep down he knows that it's not, or is it like almost a repressed thing, that he's like, he secretly is in love with black women, which is why he is racist, because he doesn't, what I mean, is
Mm.
like, in it perpetuates his kind of insecurity as a character, that he doesn't really know what he thinks or feels about it, but yeah, it's just crazy. Sean Penn's such a weird actor, because I feel like he's obviously always been very good at capturing the screen. I feel like you watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and his character is like to stand out like the best character in that kind of high school movie. And
Yeah,
without him, the film would be a lot less enjoyable, I think. Um, and then I don't know. I think of his character in Carlito's Way, and like he's just like this kind of like spun out lawyer, and like he is so fun to watch in that as well.
yeah, he
I
is.
haven't actually seen many other Sean Penn films, so it's kind of, I've watched these three performances, and I just think like the jump between all three of them are kind of crazy. The fact that he's be able to portray these very different characters.
Yeah, I'm trying to think
But
about other Sean Penn films I've seen, and it's like
there is
honestly,
a
you
thread of like insanity throughout all his roles, or a thread of kind of like aloofness or goofiness. Like I feel
yeah,
like there's a very big goofiness to Colonel Lockjaw, and the fact that his name is Colonel Lockjaw as well. It's like a fucking cartoon
yeah.
character, man. Like,
That's another
and
great
some
thing
of
about
his,
Pynchon is the names. The names are always really good. Uh,
it's like
yeah,
he's like a fucking Popeye or something. It's
yeah.
like, when I think about that character, I'm seeing a character in my mind, but it's done so well that you're not even questioning it.
Um, yeah. I mean, you like I don't know. I feel like you get an idea of like what a Sean Penn movie is, and then actually you look at his filmography and you're like, oh no, like he's done so much different stuff. You know, like he I don't think he can be like pigeonholed. Um, you know, he doesn't play just tough men. You know, he plays. I mean, what's um, this must be the place. There's a film I wanted to watch. I never actually got around to watching it, but like you know, that's he's got hair.
I typed in Sean Penn on Letterboxd, but I was on films, and the first thing that pops up is a French film called Sean Penn, L'Enfant terrible de l'Amérique, which means like the terrible child of America. Or I guess maybe it's the bad boy of America. I don't know, like the kind of like naughty.
Oh,
Oh,
l'enfant
I guess
terrible.
I never actually. I forgot about his involvement in Licorice Pizza. So I'm looking at his filmography right now.
Was he in? Oh, who was he in Licorice Pizza?
Um, I can't remember. He was Jack Holden. He's like the. I don't know. Um, I didn't know he was in Being John Malkovich.
Oh, does he play himself in that? Yeah,
Probably.
yeah. He's like very very minor. There's nothing. Um, yeah, he's really good in Mystic River. That's a really good film.
He's in a strange early Tom Cruise movie, Risky Business.
He's uncredited though.
He's in the Angry Birds movie.
um, yeah, like you just go through it and it's like, okay, actually, what is a Tom Cruise movie? A Sean Penn movie.
What is Sean Penn? Yeah, he is like. I didn't realize he was in Dogtown and Z Boys, but he just plays himself. Yeah, it's a documentary, isn't it? What? Probably. I
Oh,
don't
he's
even
the
know.
narrator.
Oh. Oh, wow. That's what I mean. Even just being a narrator is kind of like rogue. He's in a
Like,
Bukowski movie.
but you think he's not counter. I mean, maybe he started as counterculture with Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but then kind of morphed into this. I think he's quite conservative now. Um, you know,
As in, like politically, or
yeah. Um,
I've heard some like he's like a sort of cancerable actor. Like I've heard he's been like there was some dodgy stuff about him, like in the
I'm
Me
sure
Too
there
movement and
is.
stuff.
Um,
Might just be
what's
spreading misinformation right now, but I do remember that his name popping up in
Oh, here you
some
go.
kind
He
of like.
assaulted two journalists when they tried to photograph him and Madonna in
Oh,
Nashville in 2010.
I respect that shit. I think journalists
uh,
and like paparazzi are so fucking annoying. Um, I don't know. Maybe he's a good guy. It's hard to see anyone being involved in
El
this
Chapo
film.
captured after meeting with actor Sean Penn. What?
What? I did see an El Chapo documentary, so maybe that's
Yeah, I think guess he played some role in the capture of El Chapo. What? Um,
intentionally or by accident.
I think intentionally.
Wow. Maybe he is a cool guy. If I'm wrong.
But like, he's a weird mix of like, yeah, he started off as counterculture, but now he's playing like, the military. What is he, lieutenant?
But that's what I
In
mean. I don't
one.
think anyone that's right wing leaning would agree to play that role that's so obviously taking the piss out of like, you know,
I
far
think an
right
actor would.
leaners and
I think there is uh, a difference between a regular right wing person and an actor right wing person. Does that make sense? A right wing actor and a
no.
right wing regular person. Because I think a right wing actor is far more willing to be like, okay, this is a big paycheck, and uh, all I've got to do is play this character. I don't know. I think if they flash the money in front of you, I think you'd give it a go.
But like his performance is so good that I'm like, there's no way he's half-assing this. He must be really trying to. I don't know. Maybe this is a debate of people that know more about acting than me, but the verse, the intention versus the performance that is like that it comes off as, Because like to me, it seems like he's intentionally making him look like a fucking doofus, and look like, you know, he's intentionally making you want to laugh at this character, and make you think about the fact that these people, some of these people, like, some people are out there that are actually like this character, and you kind of see the comedy of it, rather than it doesn't, you know, he's not exactly like leading a good cause for being right wing, is he, in that role?
I mean, actually, no, sorry, I have just read something about him here.
Okay.
Oh, but now I can't get it up. Basically, it's saying that he was critical of the George W. Bush administration, and he's had contact with presidents of Cuba and Venezuela. His humanitarian work in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and the Haiti earthquake. Um, but yeah, um, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Sean Penn says we need people like Charlie Kirk. Interesting.
Okay. I mean, there's an interesting direction you can go with that. You
Sean
know,
Penn not surprised by Charlie Kirk killing. What? Yeah,
it doesn't, to me. It's about as elusive as his filmography. You know, it's like
yeah, I think trying to pin down like actors' politics can just be like just a complete waste of time. Just because
yeah,
you're with that sort of money, I think anybody can be kind of bought and paid for. You know what I mean? Like I don't think how many genuine celebrities we have nowadays that actually have a backbone and actually have any sort of principles. Like I mean, does anybody have any like a set of principles they stick to anymore? Um,
I do.
yeah, I like to think I do, but also I think
I've
if
got
somebody
10.
flashed £10 million in front of my face, I think I'd probably give them up pretty quick.
Okay, well, hopefully this podcast is a way to get that,
Yeah,
get you
yeah.
in the
Just to
eye
let
line of someone
any
with £10 million.
anybody out there with £10 million, they will do just about anything.
£10 million to put your review of One Battle After Another up from 4 stars to 5 stars.
I think it'd take a bit more than that.
So yeah, I think I'd like to give an honourable mention to Tarina Taylor as well, as for her performance, because
Was she
I thought
Willa?
that's Willa's mum. I can't remember. She's got what's her name?
What Regina King? Is it Regina King?
Is that what her name?
Regina Hall.
The
Sorry.
actor is called Tarina Taylor,
Oh,
and that's who
Perfidia.
plays
Oh, at the beginning.
Willa's mum.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I
Is
forget
it, what's it
Regina
called?
Perfidia.
Perfidia, yeah. Um, you know, I looked up briefly earlier on Wikipedia, and she's got like credits with a Beyonce music video. I don't really know what else I've seen her in. She looks like someone I've seen in something, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I've not seen her in anything else.
So, but she, yeah, don't know wherever she's come from. I thought she killed it. I thought she kind of made it that like, you know, the prelude even more watchable and enjoyable. And I can understand the perspective where, you know, you kind of get attached to that character and then suddenly they're gone. But I think she did a great job of setting up the whole film, and her performance was great.
Yeah, I like that it
Even then,
was.
it's like you know, we're talking about the kind of conflicted character of Sean Penn's character, Turner Lockjaw. But even then, her like what is her role in it? Like, is she definitely, like, you know, she still cheated kind of on Leo's character with him, and still kind of engaged with him in some sort of weird way, you know.
Mm,
It's kind of never really explained throughout the film, that dynamic that they have. You know, it's like, because it's hard to tell whether the Colonel Lockjaw actually like really likes her, just physically or lustfully attracted to her, and whether she's getting something out of the power play between them, you know, even in a sexual manner. It's very like weird relationship, and I kind of like that you get thrown into that dynamic instantly, because it's obviously a hallmark of PTA films, of these kind of these ambiguous relationships.
mm. Yeah, it was. Her character, I thought, was especially well written. Obviously, I don't really know if that character's in Vineland or anything, but I thought yeah, that she, because it wasn't just like this woman is a vehicle for the, um, for the daughter to come, into the story, but like she has her own sort of uh, motives, and she's not just a stereotypical woman in it. Like she have this really complicated, um, like postmenopausal, not postmenopausal, sorry, post partum,
Natal,
like the depression where she's like, um,
postpartum depression. Yeah,
um, she comes in and she just doesn't feel like she's outside of her body, and she makes these decisions that, on the surface, don't make sense because you're like, oh, a mother should stay with her child, but she has these very complicated feelings, and yeah, it's played very well by sorry, I've forgotten her name, I can't remember her name, Tiana Taylor. Um,
Tarina Taylor.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but she also does then also play uh, the very like almost hypersexual, um, very confident black woman. Um, there's also an incredibly interesting, like dual, um, not dual role, but like two ends of the
I
spectrum.
remember I just felt really bad for Bob Ferguson when she left. I feel like there was this kind of image that really stuck in my head from the film where it's like they're like all Leo and Tarina Taylor or Perfidia. They're in bed with the baby. I think it's like maybe just after being born, and it's like it's this very beautiful kind of image of family and
Mm,
building a family together, and this kind of almost like a very archetypal like happy family, or there's something really like primal about the image that they put of like they're kind of in bed naked with the baby, and it's like it feels very like moving and very like
mm,
and then for it to go into the postpartum depression bit, and then her to just and Bob Ferguson's like, you can just leave, you don't have to stay, and then she does. I feel like that was quite abrupt, and then you kind of feel for Leo, even skipping forward, and he's just fucked up on drugs, and you're like, maybe that's the reason. Part of the reason is that he's had to raise this child without her mother that he also loves very much, and I feel like his kind of relationship with her goes a bit by the wayside, especially later in the film where she receives, Willow receives the letter from her mum, and it's like he's had this letter. She hasn't tried to get in contact or meet up with him. It's just that just Willow. I don't know, but it does kind of. I feel like the fact that it's left very open ended kind of lets you put your own spin or view on it, but it feels, yeah, I don't know, that kind of unexplained loss. You kind of feel that uh, vicariously through Leo through Leonardo DiCaprio's character.
mm.
But yeah, Tarina Taylor killed it.
Tiana, is it Tiana Taylor? Tiana.
Tarina is what I've got down,
It
but then
says
I've
T.
also got down Leonardo da Vinci. But Benicio del Toro is another supporting
Oh,
character that's
beautiful.
just,
Makes everything better.
I don't know, probably had like 10, not even 10 minutes of screen time, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably a
still,
bit more than 10 minutes, but yeah, just
do you
everything
think?
he's in. I mean, I think it was. I would say because he
Yeah,
is obviously you meet him in the
in
dojo,
the
but then
scheme of the grand, like in the grand scheme of the movie, it's like he wasn't on for screen for very long.
no, no. Um, but yeah, great. It makes everything better. He's so good.
Yeah, and a very good comedic kind of alleviator. I don't know his role in the story. He's almost. I don't want to say he's like the Joker archetype. He is like the old wise man archetype of like him being a sensei, and he's very. It feels like he's very zen, and it feels like you're kind of he's never really worried about anything. He's almost that kind of like Obi-Wan character of he's just like he's not afraid. He's very zen, and he gets himself out of any situation he's in. Even with when he gets pulled over by the police, you're like, he's gonna be fine. Like, what I mean? I don't
Yeah,
know. And like he does kind of serve as a very easy out for when Leonardo DiCaprio's character gets like snatched, and he gets arrested, and he's getting detained, and somehow he knows the nurses and the people working there, and he managed to get them out. Yeah, for
yeah,
me now, I felt like that was a bit of a film where it's just like, we need an out. And it was
yeah. But no, I think that there is a dual purpose there, because it was also like, you know, the immigration in America, like all of these like Mexican. I assume they're Mexican, but certainly these
Hispanic, and
Hispanic.
and
Yeah,
also I think there was like some African American kind of. I think it was, you're right. It does kind of show the fact that a lot of people working within the supporting the government of the United States, and the healthcare and even the
yeah.
police
That
probably
that
do
that
have
they
some
are
sort of a.
Hispanic, but I think what's important there, and what he's trying, I would say, to get at is solidarity, is working together to achieve a mutual goal, and that is, um, but we can also help each other out in times of need. Do you know what I mean? And he does have this kind of almost this network, because he's been helping, doing this Mexican Harriet Tubman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's connected for his virtue of his good deeds, I
Mm.
guess. Yeah, okay, it does make sense. But that's what I mean. The film doesn't give you that, I feel like the film's so fast paced and doesn't, maybe where Pynchon would go off on a 2 or 3 page tangent in his novels. It doesn't do that. It paces very nicely just forward, and I think you can gather all that information from what you're getting from the film, but
Yeah, but I think
it's
that,
like,
that just
yeah,
goes back to the title, doesn't it? I mean, it is Mile a Minute. It is one battle after another. It's this
yeah,
constant um, uphill struggle that doesn't stop ever. And I mean, there is a little bit, just after the time jump, I'd say, where, you know, um, but then that's almost like there's a small respite. But then actually on the second watch, I was um, surprised at how actually quickly that it does go to the dance, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is about to happen like right now. Actually there is a small respite, um, right in the middle there, and but not for long.
well, in the time skip between the
So
prologue
there's
and
the
the.
there's the time skip, and then there's obviously the bit where um, Leo sees her off the dance. He goes to a parent teacher thing as well. Um,
Yeah, but I think that's the first cut of the time skip, isn't it? Is that he's like
yeah,
picking
that's
her up
it.
and he's smoking. What I don't know. I was talking to someone else about the film, and they were like, "Oh, he was, so he was smoking crack." And I
Yeah,
was like,
no,
"No,
that's not
I thought
crack. Yeah, that's definitely
I
not.
thought it, I thought it was like it's just implied that he's like loves like marijuana, and maybe you kind of get the vibe that he's more into his like psychedelics than into any kind of
Yeah,
hard class A stuff.
yeah, he definitely, it definitely isn't crack. Like it's because you can smoke weed out of those weird looking glass bowl things, can't you? I've done that before.
Oh,
And it does.
another great conversation in the movie as well, that is the Steely Dan bit where he's like, "Oh yeah, one of my buddies, you bought a load of Steely Dan's equipment, you get that really vintage fucking set. You don't fucking need it anymore." And it's like it's that just like little bits of like, that was just a little nugget of
Yeah.
something that felt like it was right up my alley. Old man music.
Mm. Yeah. That. Yeah. If you like that sort of stuff, the Inherent Vice is filled with that sort of stuff. Um.
Mm.
Yeah. What I do like about Pynchon is that he does have these grand ideas about um, time and place, and how the culture's shifted and stuff like that. But then also he just loves like smoking weed and Steely Dan. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Um,
And like, who doesn't?
True that.
Um, I guess the only thing we haven't really touched on is the cinematography, which I thought is
Yeah.
among some of the best I've seen in the cinema recently. Like it just something about it seems so effortless. Even getting those drone shots of the car chase at the end, I'm sure a lot of people probably talk about in that film, but everything from like the frame compositions and then furthering that as well, like the costume designs. I feel like there was just so much love put into every step of the movie that that goes unspoken about because it was seems so effortless, and you can just talk about the story so much more. And maybe that is the goal of a good movie, is to be able to execute everything so much that you're not saying, oh wow, like those costumes really blew my mind, or that shot was, it's kind of just everything is working towards the sum of the whole.
Hmm. Yeah. It was a lot better when we saw it because we saw it
Yeah,
once at View, which is
no
terrible. It's
disrespect to View Portsmouth, but um
notoriously bad for projection and audio quality. Is just
the audio was pretty fucking
dog
trash. Yeah.
shit. Um, and then we saw it in the greatest cinema in the UK, the BFI
BFI
IMAX,
Max.
in 70
Yeah, and
millimeter.
in on 70 millimeter film in the BFI Max, huge screen. It was, I think I said to you I was worried about going in for a second viewing because I loved the first viewing so much. Even though we first went to the shitty View in Portsmouth, I still was like in love with the film after the first viewing. I was like, was that
Mm,
just a very specific time and place thing where it's like I'm going to watch this again and it's going to, I'm going to see the holes in it, and watched it again and loved it even more. I can't
yeah.
wait for it to come out on streaming. I don't think I can stomach going for a third viewing. I feel like that would be a bit gluttonous, but I'm gonna wait for it to come out on streaming. Definitely watch it again because it was, yeah. Watching it in the IMAX, if anything, just furthered my appreciation for it.
um, yeah. I
And the
I think
soundtrack, we haven't spoken about the soundtrack, which is,
no, I
again,
was about to say that
great minds.
PTA has a real knack
Putter.
for choosing. I would say what are quite popular songs, but doing if you choose a song, I mean, you have to have the budget for a big song. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a famous section in Boogie Nights where they use "God Only Knows" by the Beach Boys, which is obviously a classic
Mm.
song everybody knows, and but he like really does it justice, and partly his great sense of what is cinematic and what makes for good viewing, um, and I think almost people talk about um, Tarantino a lot for his music choices, which makes sense. I mean, his music choices are a big part of the film, um, but I think PTA does it in a far, to me, more cinematic and more understated way. Um, and I think it's great. Like, what's
I mean,
the
funny enough,
dirty?
I was just going to talk about the Johnny Greenwood's sort of, action, the soundtrack, the
Oh,
orchestral stuff. But you're right. The amount of needle drops in this film. There's uh, the song that came to mind instantly when you were talking about like the needle drops was one that I didn't even know before going into the film. But it's that Soldier Boy song, like the one that's playing when it's going over. I'm not soldier as in like soldier boy, as in soldier. Um,
you're
the
right. I was gonna say I don't remember Crank That being in the film.
it's the bit where it's going over Perfidia and Colonel Lockjaw's relationship. I think
I don't remember.
it's sort of going. Um, I can't even. I don't want to sing it because I can't remember how it goes. But it's.
No, I mean no. What
I'm
I
gonna look
was
it up quick.
I was leaning to more was "Dirty Work" by Steely Dan. It's obviously a
Yeah,
great
that
needle
was a
drop.
big drop, and I feel like the fact that they name dropped the band in the film was very
Yeah,
like, yeah,
um,
they're
yeah,
really alluding to they're laying it on thick with that, and maybe it is because Pynchon was such a big fan that it's a sort of ode to him.
yeah. But they, yeah, because they drop in and out of like. diegetic and non-diegetic as well, didn't they? You know, when he takes the headphones off or whatever, and it does kind of become
Yeah.
part of the music, part of the score. Um,
Oh, so the song I was talking about is the one where it's like Soldier Boy, he was my. It's like a really '60s kind of uh, doo wop song, and it's
oh,
and yeah da 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 da
I'm sure if I
da
heard
da
it, I'd
da da
remember it.
da.
Soldier boy, oh my little soldier boy, how you were my first love, and you'll be my last love. I will never make you blue.
Talking about the soundtrack, yeah, there's a lot of great songs as well as the Jackson Five, the Ready or Not, Here I Come bit when he's, I think it's, is it after he's escaped or it's when he's escaping from the being detained, and he's fallen off the roof.
Oh,
Um,
okay, yeah,
and he's yeah, that was a great, particularly like memorable moment for me. Um, Again, I can't remember what song the film ends on. It feels like it is some sort of like happy-go-lucky thing, but
yeah.
and there's obviously the revolution will not be televised is obviously
Oh,
heavily
yeah,
put into that song. There's a song called Perfidia that they've got, which is a 1939 Spanish language song written by Mexican composer and arranger Alberto Dominguez.
oh, I don't remember that one. Um,
Yeah.
don't know what
The
the.
Eye of the Tiger was in it.
Oh, it's his ringtone. It's Sergio's ringtone.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Um, trying to find oh, is it Mo Bamba that the song is da 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 da.
Calling a young nigga phone. Where's Ollie with the motherfucking
Uh,
dog?
the high
oh
school
yeah,
dance.
I think maybe you're right.
Mo Bamba. We've got to the bottom of it. Oh no, is it Travis Scott? Goosebumps.
Yeah, it's Goose. Yeah, I'm sure it is. You said it. Hey, you had it right earlier.
No, I said Sicko Mode earlier, too fair.
Oh, oh, it's the same thing. I can't. I don't know Travis Scott. Do you reckon it's definitely his kids picked that song? It definitely wasn't PTA that picked that. I can't imagine him having even heard.
I don't know. It's a left field one because it feels like it's. I don't know. Maybe when he was started making the film, that was a relevant song. But it feels like since 2016, which is almost 10 years now, it's kind of it feels retro already. To a time before. It feels it doesn't feel
Yeah,
current.
but
But
that's what I'm saying about the trying to place it in the modern era. It just doesn't really work because like all of the references, all the technology, it's all kind of all over the place. Like the only bit I can think of is when they go into Sergio's like shop and there is a guy like on a smartphone, but that's the only real like.
I mean, the kids have smartphones. The when they're getting interviewed by the police, and then they've got to like they're like trying
Oh
to.
yeah, okay,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
and there's the fucking her friends. I'm sorry, but like they are very funny. What's one of them called? Like
Oh
Blotto or
yeah,
something.
they got crazy names. That's what I'm saying with Pynchon and the name. They are. Uh yeah. But what was the non-binary one's name? Is it Pluto? No, it wasn't Pluto. That was. I can't
No,
remember.
no, the Mexican guy was called Bluto.
Bluto. Yeah. Great names.
So I'm just looking up as well. It was interesting when Vineland was written, and it was written in 1990. Um,
Oh,
the
okay.
year, and it's set in the year of President Ronald Reagan's re-election in 1984. And
Yeah.
then this is a brief Wikipedia summary of the book. It says it's through flashbacks of its characters who lived throughout the 60s, account for the free spirit of rebellion of that decade, and describe the traits of the fascistic Nixonian repression and the war of drugs that clashed with it. Which I think is funny for it to be based on because it doesn't feel I'd never get that from the film. I wouldn't say it can't be
No.
placed anywhere in the modern landscape. I wouldn't say that it reminds me of Nixon America or even of Ronald Reagan.
Yeah,
Maybe close to Reagan's, but
PTA did come out and say that, like, I read Vineland and was like, there's no way I can ever do this justice, and so he just took parts of it. Yeah, I think it is quite a loose adaptation. One thing I
it'd
was
be
going to say,
interesting to read the book and be like, hey, I recognize that fucking thing from the film.
yeah,
But
yeah, no, I do wonder if many of the characters are taken from it. Like, I wonder if Sergio is in the book. Probably not. One thing I was going to say about the music is that actually there was a reference to the revolution will not be televised in the book for Inherent Vice, which I thought was weird. I read that. And I was like, that's weird.
I bet it's in Vineland as well. I
Probably
imagine.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, or something.
Yeah, it's the code words, and it's so funny when that bit where he's trying to find the words for the time. What is the time? And when he finally gets through to the supervisor, and he's like, "Oh yeah," and then they like validate that it's actually him, and he's talking back to the guy, and he's like, "So what was the answer to the question?" He's like, "Time is not real. Time is a concept or something," and he's like, "You fucking
But
pretentious
yet it
prick."
governs our lives. Ah.
So fucking funny.
But
But
what's
yeah,
funny
I
is
think
that he is having a go at him for that, but he didn't come up with that code. He was supposed that he wasn't in the group when the code was set. Do you know what I mean? Because he was a new hire or whatever. It doesn't.
it's so fun. I do wonder how much of like the lines that we see and love are improvised or not. I could just imagine him delivering that off the cuff, completely impromptu, and then just like everyone howling and then them yelling cut, because it just feels, if something about that line just feels so natural.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we should probably be getting wrapped up soon.
Yeah, I need to go to bed. I'm opening in the morning, so I'm in at 8:30.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, thank you to anyone who is listening. This is very prototype raw dog first episode that might not even be aired, but could be aired. I don't
Not
know. I
our
don't think it won't
first
be aired.
podcast though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, not a first attempt at a podcast,
But our first
but
Old Man Media podcast.
Old Man Media, is that what we're calling it?
I think so. I like Old Man Media.
Cool.
I
I
think
will,
we can
because
agree on
Old
that
Man
later.
Music. I think I introduced it as Old Man Music, but
Well, but this is film.
yeah,
Anyway.
but I just yeah. Thank